Welcome back, everybody. This is week 6 of the video rendition of the Festus Fantasy Football Forum. I apologize that this might be going out a little late. I have been feeling a little bit under the weather, but we're still going to be grinding out for you guys. We're still going to be getting this video out because I know that it's pretty cool. So what are we going to be going over this video? We're going to be going over a few things. As always, updated trade block. We're going to be going over matchup reviews. Power rankings, updated as always. I think you guys are going to really like it this week for the power rankings. I think it's going to be really more focused on Outlook, which I think some people were kind of calling for. We'll have that, and then we'll have the matchup previews with the primetime matchup as always. Also, we're going to be seeing a schedule of the primetime matchups for the rest of the year, so I don't just spring it up on you guys when it's your week. Stay tuned at the end of the video for that. I think it'd be good just to kind of keep your videos ready and stuff like that. So let's get right into it. For the updated trade block, we have a couple new players on the block, and we're going to be getting into that right now. Starting off here with Devonta Smith, don't remember how to say it. Team DD is adding Mr. Smith to the trade block. Now, I do believe this is in response to Justin Jefferson going down for at least 4 weeks and maybe looking to get some more depth, potentially. I don't really know what you could really offer for a player of this caliber, a mid wide receiver 2 range, just some flexes in a low RB3 potentially. I don't know. He is on the trade block. Another player being added is Joe Mixon. 2 Girls 1 Cup has added Mr. Mixon to the block, maybe looking for a swap, potentially looking for who knows what. And finally, Mr. Josh Jacobs from Team Doyle is being added to the trade block. Another Joe Mixon type of offer here. I don't know, maybe a swap of a player potentially, or maybe if he needs to be in a bigger deal-esque type trade. Those are the 3 guys added: Devonta Smith, Joe Mixon, and Josh Jacobs. Now, before we end this segment, I want to show the trade block in a table format, just so you guys know, in case you guys forgot who is available. Looking at this here, we have Cooper Kupp, Garrett Wilson, Damian Pierce, Joe Burrow, and then the aforementioned Devonta Smith, Joe Mixon, and Josh Jacobs. Now, moved off of the trade block, we have Rashad White, Breece Hall, Mike Evans, and Amari Cooper. If you guys want players added to this trade block, please keep messaging me privately, and I will put it in. Let's move on to matchup reviews. Starting off here, let's start off with Aaron Rodgers' Achilles taking down Chubb Checker. You know what? A nice performance from Chubb Checker. Just another L. Unfortunately, he had to go up against DJ Moore, who had 49 points, and I truly believe that's the sole reason Judson won this game. I mean, you take away 30 points even, and it's no bueno for Aaron Rodgers' Achilles. No disrespect, just saying. You capitalized on a great week from DJ Moore. Moving forward, still one of the best starting lineups in the league. Miles Sanders is a problem. Still one of the best starting lineups in the league. For Chubb Checker, is this a sign that maybe you need to blow it up? Next, we have Team Doyle crushing Team Armani 163 to 126. An absolute embarrassment put on our troops. Listen, Colin's team is firing on all cylinders. We love to see that. A shootout game here, and he still was able to take home the win. Not many teams can say that. Team Armani's 126-point effort would have won, I believe, all but 2 or 3 games. An absolute heartbreaker for Team Armani, falling to 3-2 now. We're going to see if they can get back on track moving forward, but a great win for Team Doyle. 3 straight wins. Very impressive. Next up, I have probably the most boring game of the week. The GOAT Squad taking down Team DD 108 to 66. Now, this is probably going to be the easiest win the GOAT Squad is going to have all season. Team DD did not have a single point score over 15, as you can see right here. Not a point score over 15. Insane. You cannot win any game with that. And as for the GOAT Squad, great win all around, you know, a solid but quiet performance from everybody. I'm waiting for this team to boom. Congrats to Tyler there, moving to 3-2, Team DD falling to 2-3.
How you like that, baby? How do you like that, Austin? The fucking rookie coming into the vet's house thinking he's all that. Thinking he's gonna take my fucking lunch money. Not today, motherfucker. Not today.
Now moving on to one of the best games of the week, Lamar's backpack falling to 2 Girls 1 Cup 107 to 136. The brand new team of 2 Girls 1 Cup featuring Cooper Kupp, Jamar Chase, and Joe Mixon. This team was firing on all cylinders. Jamar Chase scoring 52 and Lamar's backpack falling. Unfortunately, as we'll get into a little bit later, the trade that he made with Team Oil came back to haunt him this game. But that being said though, Jamar Chase scoring 52, he wouldn't have won if he didn't score 52. Same deal with Aaron Rodgers' Achilles team. If you take away 30 points, which is more reasonable, I think this team obviously loses 106 to 107. But you know what? Hey, 2 Girls, 1 Cup capitalizes on a fantastic performance from Jamar Chase, and we can only be appreciative of that if we're the managers. So, great win for 2 Girls, 1 Cup. I like the team right now, moving in the right direction. And as for Lamar's backpack, I don't think there's anything to worry about right now. Just a tough L. I think he'll get back on the saddle. Great win again for 2 Girls, 1 Cup. Moving on to the last afternoon game of Week 5, we have running backs falling to the number 1 team in the league, Little Giants, 90 to 130, basically 5. Justin Fields putting up 33 points, absolutely fantastic for the Little Giants, and Tyreek Hill back to normal with a 32-point bomb. Pairing that with Dallas Goedert, who finally had a good game, this team looked pretty good, and that's with a seldom performance from Jonathan Taylor as they ease him back in. Look, the Little Giants look great, and that's for the running backs team, not looking great. I said this last week that the matchups did not look good for the running backs of this team. Lo and behold, it showed out. Alvin Kamara obviously having a good game, but the Little Giants took advantage. So, great win for them. My upset pick of the week's now 3-0. Thank you, Little Giants. And now let's move on to primetime. And finally, for the primetime game of Week 5, we have the Guardians of Your Mom's House taking down the McAfrican Americans 92 to 78. Across the board for both teams, this was a pretty terrible game. This was a Thursday night football matchup of last year, if you can remember those games. Listen, when you only have 2 players on a team go over 10 points, those being Breece Hall and Adam Thielen scoring 27 and 28 respectively, you shouldn't win, especially when everyone else scores under 10. You kind of get away with it. In this case, the Guardians get away with it with the McAfrican Americans just not having a good week, the second lowest scoring of the week. Unfortunately, Christian McCaffrey did not have his typical carrying type game. It was just an absolute beatdown. They didn't really need him. And Hunter Henry put up 0 points, so that sucks. All in all, a boring primetime game. Hopefully moving forward we get better ones, especially this week's, so stay tuned for that. The Guardians, 3 straight wins. Good for them. And the McAfrican Americans keep flip-flopping wins and losses, so we'll have to keep an eye on that team. So now, before getting into the updated power rankings, I want to go over the new segment, which is the weekly awards. This is the play of the week. And listen, I don't know what this manager's up to, but he is clearly on fire with these moves. The Guardians of Your Mom's House, and listen, it's not a substitution, it's not a waiver wire ad, it's actually in the form of a trade. Amari Cooper being traded for Breece Hall. Breece Hall entered into the lineup for Week 5, putting up 28 points. Without those 28 points, had Amari Cooper still been on the team, this team would have scored, in theory with Khalil Herbert playing, 71.48 points. Keep in mind that Amari Cooper was on bye, so there's literally no substitution there for him. I know it's kind of cheap, but this quite literally, I think, is the only move to give a true win for a team in this league. I looked at Colin for his trade. While it did help him win, he didn't need it. This is the only team that benefited from a move this week, and that being a trade with Team Armani. Hopefully that makes sense to everybody. Now, for the You Fucked Up Award of the week, this is going to be a tough one. I don't think this manager is going to be excited to hear about this. It is Lamar's backpack. Congratulations, you get the You Fucked Up Award of Week 5. Let me tell you why. You traded away Calvin Ridley and David Montgomery. Whenever you calculate their performances into what your lineup could have been at max potential, taking out, I would assume, Jaden Reed and KJ Osborne, as anyone normally would, you would have scored an exact 137.44. Look at that right there. An absolute heartbreaker. Congratulations on your You Fucked Up Award. Congratulations on the Guardians of Your Mom's House getting the play of the week. I want to find plays that actually have impact. Wins and losses. let's move on to the power rankings. Alright, moving on to the power rankings. I'm pretty excited for this week. I was hearing a lot of comments about maybe not going more towards, stats on ESPN, but more so Outlook. And I think this week I really nailed the Outlook of teams, and that's how I ranked them. Not just Outlook, obviously the rankings of ESPN and the stats also played into a factor, but this week more so just the Outlook. Let's get started here. Number 12, Chubb Checker, 0-5. This is a bad team. I would recommend blowing it up the best you can. Try and find someone who maybe is in contention to win this year and just trade him for depth. I mean, you have to come up with something, maybe get rid of Keenan Allen, Debo, Tua, Derrick Henry. Come up with something, because it's not working, and I don't think it's going to start working. Chubb Checker, number 12. Coming in at number 11, we have the McCaffrey Americans. We've seen the ceiling of this team, and it's not really good. Unfortunately, the ceiling is whenever McCaffrey goes for almost 50 points. Obviously, that's not going to happen. Maybe the rest of the season, and we've seen the for multiple weeks under 80 points, under 90, 100 points, whatever it may be. It needs more depth. The wide receivers are cool. I like Godwin and DK, but it just needs more depth. And, looking forward, maybe it will be in its best interest to move on from CMC. Coming in at number 10, Team Didi, a big fall from last week. A week ago, this was sitting at the 3 seed, top of his division. Now he's at 10. Jay Jettis is out for at least 4 weeks, and there's no good depth to replace him, especially whenever you look into the flexes. This is pretty obvious. There's no one else to fill the 20, 30 points per game that Jay Jettis provides. Devonta Smith hasn't really been that exciting, and the running backs, besides K9, very, very underwhelming. Still love the quarterback. Still love that quarterback. Unfortunately, Team Didi, you land at number 10. I just don't see a good outlook for this team moving forward, especially for the next 4 to 5 weeks. I just don't see any good things happening. Coming in at number 9, maybe a little bit too low. We're going to keep him here for right now. 2 girls, 1 cup. Listen, Kupp and Chase look really good. The first game they played together, it's an absolutely dominant win. Of course, Jamar Chase scored 50, but who's to say Cooper Kupp can't do the same thing? I'm sure we all believe that. The only concern I have with this team moving forward is if someone goes down injured, the season is cooked. Where's the running back depth? And can this team produce when Kupp and Chase maybe have an off week? We saw last week if it weren't for Jamar Chase, he would have lost. So moving forward, we will have to monitor that. But I think this is a good spot. Look, moving up, I think this is only the beginning here at number 9. I can definitely see this team maybe being in playoff contention. I love that you traded for the 2 best guys, and look, hopefully that pays out. 2 girls, 1 cup at number 9. Coming in at number 8, we have Team Marmani. Unfortunately, this is the lowest 3-2 team, and simply put, he has been on the wrong side of his trades recently. It's still too early to judge the trades, truthfully. I think we need to see Saquon Barkley play for this team. Since making this team, definitely falling a little bit here. Although this team is not bad, the potential for this team would be way better. It could be at 4-1, maybe 5-0 at this point, where he probably should be at, but he's not, unfortunately. But hopefully the players that he has received, Rachaad White, Puka, Saquon, Amari Cooper, hopefully they can do good for this team. Now, honestly, I still think Tony got the best of what he could, given the situation of having T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, and then not liking Breece Hall. Unfortunately, I will have to keep him here at 8. I need to see this team play together. I need to play at full strength. We just haven't seen that yet, and what we have seen is this team struggle without its top players. Team Armani coming in here at number 8. Coming in at number 7, the GOAT Squad. A nice win last week, but I'm still not seeing that oomph. I'm not seeing that boom ceiling game from this team. Listen, there's a clear problem at the running back position, thanks Dom, and his receivers, though great on paper, are not consistently performing. And we have seen that the past 2 weeks now where Waddle and Olave have heavily underperformed, and I really don't know why. And another thing too with this team, he actually mentioned this in the group chat, he can't seem to solidify those flex spots. He's going between Cortland, Sutton, and Gabe Davis, and it's just not really working. It's kind of going flip-floppity. It's kind of going back and forth and wanting to maybe make a move there. We are still yet to see anything happen. Number 7, I think, is a solid place for the GOAT Squad. Not completely out of the playoffs by any means. 3-2, totally fine. Looking ahead, will the running backs be too much of a thorn in the backside, I guess you could say? Coming in at number 6, I have running backs, the highest 2-3 team, as opposed to Team Armani being the lowest 3-2. This is the highest 2-3. Listen, obviously, 3-game skid is pretty bad. As I said, in the preseason, and I have said week in and week out, the volatility at the running back position is just too hard to gauge, and unfortunately it has costed Dom many weeks. We saw just last week, Kamara did a great game, and then Pollard, Kyron, and unfortunately Aaron Jones didn't do anything. None of them over 10. Listen, the power of the running backs is obviously holding this team up. It's what got him 2 wins in the first place. Whenever he loses, it's because of his running backs. His wide receiver is pretty solid, same with the tight end. I'm giving this team one more week. One more week to prove that the 0 wide receiver strategy is worth it. And if he loses again, falling to 2 and 4, listen, I'm out. I'm out on this team, and I think he should be too. Also, a cool thing is he has Austin Eckler coming back, so that'll also help him. For right now, looking ahead, I have running backs at number 6. Coming in at number 5, we have the Guardians of Your Mom's House. Now, 3 straight wins in a row, and I won't lie, they were pretty underwhelming. 2 of the last 3 wins have come under 100 points, and you don't really like seeing that from a team now at the number 3 spot in the playoffs. Although this scoring has not been there though, the team has got it done dealing with coaching mistakes, dealing with flat out dud weeks. I think the floor of this team is definitely 90 points. Sometimes that works, and it has the past 2 weeks. The running backs are a problem though, especially with Khalil Herbert and James Conner now going down. This looks like to be a problem. Ramondre Stevenson, just nothing wrong with him, he just sucks ass. Something might have to change. Breece Hall, amazing addition. We love Breece Hall over here. Looking forward, I don't know if this has enough star power to win a championship, but I think it's in a good spot to compete week in and week out, coming in at number 5. Number 4. Aaron Rodgers' Achilles. Finally, the whole team seems to be clicking, besides Miles Sanders, but we'll ignore that. Andrews looking good again after a slow, rocky start. DJ Moore, obviously, we have seen his potential ceiling now the past 2 weeks. Great for him. Garrett Wilson, still iffy, but Bijan and Josh Allen, very, very good. As I've been saying, this is one of the best starting lineups in the entire league. The flexes are still a question mark. I think this is a great spot for Aaron Rodgers' Achilles. Best starting lineup, one of the best, I should say, in the entire league. Aaron Rodgers' Achilles coming in at number 4. That means coming in at number 3, we have one spot lower, but Lamar's backpack coming in at number 3 here. Look, following a tough loss, but I'm not holding it to him, okay? This team is still a complete team, still a very good team, and one of the members of the 600-point club, so congratulations. However, since the trade for Mike Evans, they lost a little bit of fire. As we've just seen, he got the You Fucked Up award, unfortunately costing him that matchup against Chris. Looking forward, still overall very, very good. No need to panic, no need to do anything. Still one of the best receiving cores, now probably the best receiving core, adding Mike Evans. We'll have to wait and see, of course, with that. Lamar's backpack coming in at number 3. That means coming in at number 2, look at Team Doyle rising up the ranks. Listen, he's on a hot streak here. 3 straight wins, dominant fashions, might I add. Part of the 600 club along with Lamar's backpack. A very, very complete team. That Cooper Kupp trade and the trade with Lamar's backpack, fantastic for this team. This starting lineup, besides Judson's, I would say, is the most complete overall in the league. I'm very excited to see this team moving forward. Listen, it's not benefiting off of bad opponent weeks. This team is just straight up beating people, and that's what I see keeps me from thinking it's a fraudulent team, and this is a true contender, I believe, barring injury. But I think Colin's really going to like this one, so Team Doyle coming in at number 2. And finally, coming in at the illustrious number 1 spot for the 3rd week in a row, we have the Little Giants. Pretty much everything I said last week, this team is healthy. JT is back, and of course he had a bad first week back, but he's going to be eased in back into that starting role. This team is going to be really deadly. And obviously Tyreek Hill. Whenever you have Tyreek Hill, the boom factor that he brings, nothing much to say there besides, good team for Brock. Looking forward to see this team competing in week 15 and potentially beyond. Little Giants coming in at number 1. Moving on to the final segment here. Hope you guys have enjoyed it thus far. Matchup previews for week 6 and of course my predictions. Now I went 5-1 last week, my best week thus far, moving the year record to 17-13. Now let's get into the first matchup here, and that being running backs taking on Lamar's backpack. A lot of question marks on both of these teams. Lamar's backpack following a tough loss after then trading David Montgomery and Calvin Ridley, and running backs dudding again. The running back volatility has surely been biting Dom in the ass. the matchups this week as opposed to last week. Very big difference. And I think with all that being said, Austin Eckler coming back as well, I don't see how Dom loses this game. I think it's going to be actually a huge performance for his team. What's up, guys? Future Jackson here. The trade with Chris hadn't gone through yet, so the teams obviously look different, but let's just say Dom is still going to win just because I'm too sick to redo it. Not saying that Lamar's backpack won't put up big numbers, but I just don't see a way running backs loses this matchup. Dom taking that W there. Moving on here to the next matchup, we have Aaron Rodgers' Achilles taking on Team Didi. Biggest point differential of anyone else in the league, and Team Didi not even projected 100 points. Listen, this is going to be a pretty bad game from Team Didi. Obviously, Justin Jefferson went down, and Aaron Rodgers' Achilles looks pretty much healthy and ready to go. Obviously, Miles Sanders is an issue. Even if he has to sub him out, I don't think Team Didi has any firepower, at least enough firepower, to take home this win. So I think this is a pretty obvious win for the Achilles team. Next up here, what might be the game of the week besides primetime, of course, we have Team Doyle taking on the Guardians of Your Mom's House. Now, 121 to 117 projections early and on. This is Wednesday now. Devontae Adams with a questionable tag. That's not really good, but I might just be precautionary. It is a Wednesday, and Team Doyle looking pretty healthy. Has George Pickens on a bye. Other than that, I don't think that'll give him many problems. Listen, Team Doyle's been on a heater. The last 3 games have been dominant wins. Both of these teams are riding 3-game win streaks. Who will snap that streak today? I think Team Doyle is going to take this win. I think the firepower on this team, truthfully, is too much to handle for the Guardians, who haven't scored over 100, and there's Team Doyle hasn't scored under 100 and I think 20 points the past 3 weeks. Dominant fashion there. Obviously, this team could dud. I just don't see that happening this week. Pretty good matchups as well. Mr. Doyle, Team Doyle, going to take this win. Now, for the next matchup, pretty interesting game here. Chubb Checker taking on the GOAT Squad. And although the early projection totals are heavily favoring the GOAT Squad, I actually like Chubb Checker this week. I think he has some pretty good matchups. He picked up DeMarcado to face the Rams. I like that. Deebo Samuel against Cleveland. Keenan Allen against Dallas. I kind of like these matchups. And that's why I'm going to give my upset of the week pick to Chubb Checker. I believe this is his week to get his first win against what I would say not a weak GOAT squad, but a team who doesn't really have its identity right now. Not really good running backs, not really good wide receiver play. Maybe that turns around this week, who knows? But a team that does not have its identity besides Kelsey, I think Chubb Checker is going to take advantage this week. And I think with its good matchups, I think they're going to win. Chubb Checker taking this win. And moving on to the last afternoon game, we have Team Armani taking on the McAfrican Americans. A 120 to 115-ish point projection differential. Team Armani is on the fence if T. Higgins can play. We will see if he will or not. He is a limited participant in practice as of Wednesday, which is a good sign. I think a return this week is possible, but keep an eye out for that. As for the McAfrican Americans, having his big wide receivers come back off of bye, this looks like he's coming in full strength. Starting Cam Akers against Chicago, I would maybe switch that for Antonio Gibson. I feel like he has a higher floor than Cam Akers. Could be wrong. And this could be the first game with Saquon Barkley back for the Team Armani. Another person who practiced in a limited capacity. I think there's a good chance he comes back and plays this week, especially on primetime in Buffalo. Should be a good game to come back for Saquon. Now, I actually am going to give this win to the McAfrican Americans. I just am not sold on Team Armani's team yet. There's a couple injury concerns with T. Higgins and Saquon Barkley that we have to monitor. In what capacity and what strength will they be playing at? And as for the McAfrican Americans, I think they're coming in pretty healthy. I think getting their wide receivers back is pretty good for them. And yeah, I think this is their week to win. And the McAfrican Americans taking down Team Armani. And that means, ladies and gentlemen, the primetime matchup for Week 6, I think this will be the best one of the year thus far. Little Giants taking on 2 Girls 1 Cup. Early projections are showing Little Giants having the slight edge at 120 over the 117 projected points for 2 Girls 1 Cup. Future Jacks again. Same deal with Dom. I don't feel good enough to go back and do this section, so just act like this is Chris's updated team. Obviously, we have now seen the power of 2 Girls 1 Cup Jamar Chase, and Jamar Chase is waking the fuck up. And for the little Giants, looking pretty healthy to me. He's having to start Jahmyr Gibbs in that flex because Watson is out with a bye. We'll see if he sticks with that. I could also see him starting maybe a JSN or a Josh Downs in that space. Now, we do have videos from both managers. We're going to start with the away team first. Here is the little Giants manager talking about his team, the primetime matchup, and, looking forward. So, roll the clip.
Week 6 preview coming at you from Applebee's. Boys are feeling good. Form 1. We're playing Chris's team this week. Yep. And honestly, we've been hearing a lot of stuff all week, and we're just going to take it with a grain of salt, just like everything else. I mean, we don't really care. We're fighting for bigger things. I mean, he's talking about having this game circled for a while now. And, I mean, I'm paying for a championship. I'm sorry.
Well, week 6.
I mean, mid-season, we pretty much secured a playoff spot at this point, I would say. And, we're just going to keep playing. We're just going to keep playing with our hearts on our sleeves. I mean, that's really all I got to say. Good luck to all you guys this week. Chris, you can go fuck yourself. I'll see you on your waiver wire because you'll be needing it. Toodles.
Very well said there. It said it took him 10 tries. Well, hey, practice makes perfect. That was a great video. Thank you so much, Mr. Little Giants manager Brock. Obviously, this team, whenever Justin Fields isn't a fucking stupid quarterback, pretty good team. Tyreek Hill, whenever he booms, he fucking carries his team, which you have to appreciate every time you can. Now, for 2 Girls 1 Cups, obviously, the ceiling for this team is really high. Here is the manager of this team sending in a video himself. Roll the clip.
Game of the week. Brock. Had this one circled. He thinks he's hot shit. And I'm about to show him why I have 2 rings. Let me tell you.
Very well said there from the 2 Girls 1 Cup manager, Chris. Listen, I think this is going to be a dogfight. I think this is going to be the best matchup of the year besides the Little Giants and Team Doyle matchup that we just saw a couple weeks ago. I think this is going to be a very, very intense shootout. With that being said, I'm going to give the very, 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 very slight edge to the Little Giants. Listen, if Jamar Chase hadn't just gone off for 52 points, I would be a little more confident in this team. Jamar Chase potentially regressing this week, obviously, maybe still to 20 points, which is totally fine. But we're not going to see a 40-plus point performance again. But I think the Little Giants just have such a good all-around team. I think the boom factor for that team is actually better than the 2 Girls 1 Cup team. Those are my picks for this week. Let me go over them again. So the winners I have for week 6 are as followed. I have running backs. I have the Achilles team, Aaron Rodgers Achilles. The McAfrican Americans. I have Team Doyle. My upset of the week pick is Chubb Checker. And for the primetime game of the week, I have the Little Giants taking down 2 Girls 1 Cup. Now, before I end this video, I want to show the primetime schedule for the rest of the year so everybody can know. I try to make this as fair as possible. Everybody getting at least 2 weeks in primetime. The only caveat to that is, unfortunately, Team Armani's team only getting 1 and the GOAT Squad getting 3. Unfortunately, that's just the way I fucked up the early season. I should have laid this out beforehand, but I didn't. Hopefully, though, I can flex in Team Armani in those bottom 2 weeks there. That is saved for potentially playoff determining matchup. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm sorry again that it might have took longer to get this out, and if I was a little, if the quality maybe was a little worse, if I sounded a little bad, if my energy maybe wasn't there, I really tried to hide it this video. So thank you guys so much for watching. Remember, if there's any trades, you're gonna see it here first. Also, before I end this video, next week we will be going over the mid-season awards for the league. That'll be its own video, so stay tuned for that. With that all being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and good luck to everybody in week 6.